Folks, thanks for joining us today. My name is John Dubas with Premier Marketing, and we'll be spending the next 50 to 60 minutes or so discussing one of the needs that many of the people in Medicare, regardless of their choice of base coverages, but particularly those with Medicare Advantage, are looking for when it comes to holes in that particular coverage. And so what we're going to do today is discuss the offerings of a hospital indemnity program that will fill that void that are being offered by the industry leader in this space, and that's GTL. And we're proud to have them as our partner and as our guest presenters today. In a bit, we'll get on to that, but I want to make certain that you realize today's presentation is being recorded, and it will be available to everyone on our website at premiersmi.com and on our YouTube channel as it updates. We'll also be sending follow-up out to everyone who has raised their hand with interest in today's presentation. You'll find in the software system for this webinar that there's a space for both questions and chat. We ask that you put your questions in the questions section. We'll be checking that periodically to make certain that we cover the question that you have, as we do many of them through the course of the presentation. But we will make certain that you have an answer, even if that answer is, I'm going to have to get you an answer, to make certain you get full value out of today's presentation. A bit of a level set to start about Premier Marketing. We are a national marketing organization founded in 1968. That's part of the Integrity Marketing Platform. We have offices across the country. We're licensed in all 50 states. Offering insurance services to the public through independent insurance agents and agencies such as yourself, through contracts that are at the highest possible commission levels, with recruiting contracts available to those who qualify. We do so through a full portfolio of products, the base Medicare products, the Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplement plans, the standalone Part D prescription drug plans. But we also have a full portfolio of life insurance and annuity products, including final expense life insurance and pre-need plans. We also offer long and short-term care programs and disability income plans, and then ancillary benefits, such as what we'll discuss today, that include dental, vision, hearing programs, critical illness cancer plans, hospital indemnity programs, today's topic, and accident and telehealth programs as well. Those Medicare Advantage plans include the national leaders and many of the strong regionals that make a difference for you in your markets. And that same philosophy carries over into the prescription drug plans, where in the vast majority of these cases, they're part of the Medicare Advantage contract as well. When we look at the Medicare supplement programs, we have a large portfolio of those programs and specific marketing and technical support to make you successful in this space. And the same philosophy there carries over, where we want to maintain coverages for all of our prospects across the board. And in most cases, that includes the investigation and the offering of specific additional ancillary product. In each of these categories, you've got those national leaders in this space, and we're happy once again that GTL is helping us with today's presentation to specifically address hospital indemnity programs. A lot of talk about it right now. We want to make certain that we get you the information you need to be both responsible and profitable in this space. So as we look at the Medicare marketing opportunity overall, if you look at the aging of the baby boomers, the silver tsunami, one every 10 seconds, 10,000 plus a day, you see a near exponential growth in that number. Part of it, well, some of the folks that reach 65 or have access to Medicare benefits don't necessarily take advantage of that when they're first eligible. So you see that number whittled a little bit as some people wait for retirement a little later because of the pandemic, because of some of the economic reversals brought about by that and other circumstances, where, hey, folks just like to work too. There are some of us that are looking at it as, I don't get full Social Security till here, I'm working till here. So you have some different things that influence the choice as to who is in Medicare accessing the care based on age. but that number is more than made up by the 15% of the Medicare population that's under the age of 65, medically disabled, and need our help as well. Many of these folks, because they are medically disabled, doesn't mean they cannot purchase additional insurance. So we need to be robust in our questioning and our fact finding and make certain that we help folks across the board, because if you're on Medicare, you do have some challenges by numbers anyway. 2/3 of the population have 3+ chronic conditions. Half of the population has challenges with their income and assets. So planning for what in most cases is the inevitable, it really helps them maintain a budget and eliminate that fear of what's going to happen if I go into the hospital. Because that depends upon the choices that they made when they were selecting their coverages. Some folks even turn down the optional Part B coverage with Medicare. Thankfully, many do not, but some will choose to self-insure for the base medical expenses, relying just on traditional original Medicare, maybe pick up a standalone PDP program, those Part D plans to cover most of the costs of the medication. Some, however, will select a a standardized, modernized Medicare supplement program to help with the medical costs. Some will bundle into the Medicare Advantage programs. And each of these choices, folks have an opportunity to take advantage of hospital indemnity programs, and we want to make certain that we're able to answer their questions, help them with their choices, and do what is best for those involved. When first coming on Medicare, many of the people in the past had been a fairly even split between Medicare Advantage and Med Sup. That changed a little bit with the pandemic. But regardless, in each of the choices, we want to take care of them, and that includes translating what we're saying in many circumstances, because, hey, acronyms, they're part of every subset of our culture. This acronym guide, to which you will receive a link as part of the follow-up, helps us stay in front of some of those acronyms and make certain that we speak to people in the manner they need to have so they can understand. And that brings us to a tip of use as few acronyms as possible so people understand where you're going with your discussion. Today's topic is not influenced so much by the different election periods. However, in a household with Medicare population or the folks that are younger, because this doesn't apply to just Medicare individuals, but those folks in many cases may not have examined their choices during AEP, may have not done so any further throughout OEP, and knowing when a person can make a choice and how they can make a choice, including the use of the special election periods, can make a huge difference in discussing those programs when it comes to terms to compliance, but most certainly when it comes to the point in time when they perhaps need a different program. Because as I mentioned, Kaiser Family Foundation tells us whatever their choice is, the majority of people hadn't reviewed their coverages, particularly the particularly vulnerable are influenced by this as well. They are comfortable where they are and don't want to make a change, even though it's in their best economic circumstance to do so. And you'll find, obviously, too, that many of the people, if they're not reviewing their coverages, well, are people reaching them? In many cases, no. Are they using the online programs offered by the government? Most cases here, once again, no. So we need to make certain they understand the benefits that are outlined in their Medicare and U handbook, if they get it electronically or by the postal service, or if they do use a smartphone for the What's Covered app with Medicare, help walk them through what is covered and what is not, and what is their financial responsibility, because these neat tools aren't being used. They are, however, a great way for us to further discussion with the folks that we need to in the fashion they need. So one of the things we like to make certain we do is with our provider partners, with our patients, I should say, our book of business, and even with the carriers with whom we associate, we want to make certain that we're able to deliver that information not only accurately and compliantly, but in the fashion that people want, and be able to pivot the key word we have in many circumstances now, where we're visiting with people either face to face, obviously, or virtually, but we have the opportunity and the technology to handle a switch between the two, because folks are used to receiving information electronically, digitally. We've been trained to do that by our doctors. We've been accustomed to doing that in many circumstances, even when it comes to the celebrations of our faith. So people are used to receiving information electronically, and knowing that and having the capability, the software, the systems in play that allows us to do that in our business as well is really important. Not only because they're getting the information that's needed, we're helping discuss the needs that are revealed there, but it also tells us of the opportunity we have for multiple sales within a house, which drives up our retention and our persistency. And keep in mind, that doesn't have to be with the same company. That just happens to be with the same agent, which is you. So if you go into a household, they have a Medicare Advantage program, they can't or won't change. Plugging the holes with a hospital indemnity program with GTL is exactly what you need to do, not only to cover that need, but drive up your persistency. So finally, what we have today is a discussion brought to us by our friends over at GTL, and specifically Mr. Greg Esposito, who's the Assistant Vice President of Sales for the organization, to come on and give us the detail that we need when it comes to what are these programs about, how do I offer them, how do I sell. And what we have here is some product detail that will enable us to do that, and additional detail about some systems. So Greg, at this time, I am turning control over to you, finally shutting up, and say, hey, thank you, and we look forward to the presentation.
Okay, so appreciate it. Let me see if we've got the right screen showing here. Hopefully right now you are looking at an Advantage Plus Elite slide. Does that look correct?
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Perfect. All right. Well, yeah, it's great to be here. I really do appreciate the opportunity, John. And for everybody who tuned in today, there's great news. If you have been selling GTL's Hospital Indemnity Plan, not only do we have some new information for you, we have a brand new product. So really interested to share that information with you. And also, if you are new to selling hospital indemnity, I'm going to share a lot of information with you today, not only about the plan, but really why to sell it, and show you proof of how important of a deal it can be for your client's finances. So let's go ahead, let's get started, start having some fun here. The first thing, with Guaranteed Trust, if you're not familiar with us, we kind of go by the acronym of GTL, and we've been around since 1936. Mutual insurance company, A-, excellent AM best rating with zero debt on our balance sheet. Specifically, what we are known for is creating ancillary products. So hospital indemnity is definitely our mainstay flagship product. Started it in 2005, and every couple of years we upgrade the plan. We are always, no matter what, going to make sure that our hospital indemnity plan is the best in the market. So if you're talking about GTL, you're talking about the best hospital indemnity plan in the space. So as mentioned just a few seconds ago, we did launch a brand new hospital indemnity plan last fall, and it is called Advantage Plus Elite. Our former plan was called Advantage Plus, so just a little bit of a name change, but a lot of difference in terms of the product. Something else we do at GTL to make sure you can cross-sell this plan as quickly as possible, but also as compliantly as possible, is we create some cross-selling tools for you. We have a nice consumer video that I'll share with you today, also an infographic, and a client presentation in case you're cross-selling virtually. We also have every way you would like to be able to write business with GTL and submit it to us. That's an option for you. If you're meeting in person with the client, you can use your tablet or smartphone via GTL's e-app platform that you can download from Apple or Google Play. You'd want to search for GTL e-app. And that way, you do the application, your client signs the device screen, and they are done. If you're not with the client, you're working virtually, well, that's fine. We have a PC platform, works exactly the same way as the EAP platform, except it doesn't attain a signature. So only if you use the PC platform does the client need to complete a very short verification call, and then they're all set. So we've got all the platforms that you could really ever want. With regard to cross-selling hospital indemnity, my job today is to tell you about the plan, but also prove to you how it can make a very meaningful change in the client's future financials. As John mentioned, it's going to help create a long-term client, and very important for you as agents, it's going to help generate a lot of referrals. With regard to a quick why are we here today? How does this plan work with Medicare Advantage? Why would we want to offer it? Let me just give you a quick example. If you are sitting with a client and you're talking about their Medicare Advantage plan, and they happen to be lucky enough to live in an area, a county, where there's no premium to pay for their Med Advantage coverage, that's always great news. The second thing is, as you start going over some of the potential copays they will have on their Med Advantage plan, they're not too scary if you look at them on a one-by-one basis. Like, I took an ambulance to the hospital, couple $100, probably pretty manageable for most folks. Where we run into problems with the client and possibly just getting them pretty upset about the financial situation they're in would be, let's say they take an ambulance to the hospital. That's $200. And then they're going to the ER because maybe they had a heart attack. And then they're going to be admitted for a few days. So now when we start adding up these copays, $200, $100, a couple days in the hospital with this Med Advantage plan on your screen is an additional $500. Now we're approaching $1,000 or more. And that's when they come home to that bill and they start thinking, wow, I wonder if there was a better way to do this. I wasn't anticipating this large of a copay. So we want to avoid this because this is a situation that doesn't work out well. It's going to take a big dent out of their savings or their budget, and it can sometimes really affect your relationship with them. So what we'd rather do, get them set up on that great Medicare Advantage plan, then set them up for an affordable hospital indemnity plan. So when they have that future hospital stay, they actually end up with zero net out-of-pocket costs. And you're going to find you can do that for most people anywhere from $20 to $30, $35 a month, and they're all set. Now, the nice thing about our hospital indemnity plans is we have the best history in the marketplace. 17 years we've had a plan called Advantage Plus, and in those 17 years we have never increased the rates, and we have never lowered their benefits. So this plan has the most consistent history of any hospital indemnity plan in the market space. Also, even back in 2005 when we developed the product, we made it so it was easy for clients to understand and, most importantly, easy for them to get their benefits. The one thing that does separate us from the other competition out there is our claim processing. This is something that agents tell me all the time as I travel the country. They're like, yeah, we've sold some other companies, but your claim processing is really fast and easy for the client. So it really does separate us. Cross-selling tools we covered. One thing I do want to let you know is that any EAP platform you use is set up to automatically issue the business in a couple minutes. So you probably won't make it to your car by the time your client's coverage is approved, and they'll get an email, and so will you, that it's been approved. Now, I did promise you that I would prove to you how important this product can be to some clients, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's talk about some of the agents that have taken a few minutes and talked to their clients about getting a GTL hospital indemnity plan. And there's some individual policyholders you see on the right side of your screen. You can see the one on the top. We have had that policy in force since 2009, and we have sent them already just shy of $90,000 in claim benefits. So yes, this little policy that costs probably $20 to $35 a month, depending upon the person's age and their coverage benefits, that is an incredible amount of claim benefits that we paid to just that one policyholder. And another thing you can see on this page is that these policies have been around a long time. People do tend to keep this coverage a long time. So when we think about our clients that are on Medicare Advantage, And we also know that the average savings account in America is less than $9,000. If they run into situations where they have multiple hospital stays as they age, this plan can really make a big difference. Some of us have clients who have big chunks of money like on your screen in their savings account, but how many of them would like to take that out and spend it on medical expenses instead of vacations or time with their grandchildren? And how many of them could do that and not change their lifestyle at all? Probably not a lot. And when it comes to processing claims, again, just remember GTL has processed more claims than any other hospital indemnity carrier by a landslide. This is one of the reasons we're really good at it, because we know what to look for. We know what we can process instantly, what we may have to take a little bit more of a look at. So selling this plan, here's what you can expect. And I say everything today based upon feedback I get from agents who've been selling the plan. Most agents tell me that their Medicare Advantage clients, 7 out of 10 of them want the hospital indemnity coverage and apply for it and get it. So this is definitely a plan where you have a high closing rate. The main tip I can give you for selling this, you just need to bring it up. That's the first one that we definitely want to pass along today. Second thing is, you can sell this plan all year round. So a lot of agents cross-sell it during AEP, but then some don't. Some just reach out to their clients after AEP and get them signed up for hospital indemnity coverage. Nice thing about this plan, it pays really nice commissions. More importantly, pays renewals for the life of the policy. So as you're selling it, every client you have, you're generating commissions for the life of the policy. With regard to the great news we talked about earlier, Advantage Plus was the name of our product since 2005 all the way through 2021. And then in the fall of 2021, we launched Advantage Plus Elite. And I'm really thrilled to tell you what the differences are with the new plan. It's been an absolute home run. And a lot of the reason for that is because we listened to agents for what they were asking for, and we developed it. So the first thing we'll talk about is how quickly you can use it. With Advantage Plus, our old plan, you had to be in the hospital for at least 12 hours before your hospitalization benefits kicked in. With Advantage Plus Elite, now after 6 hours, your coverage kicks in. So a lot of your clients will be able to use it sooner. Also, observation coverage kicks in after 6 hours too. So you don't have to worry about observation coding with this plan. If your client's in the hospital at least 6 hours and coded observation, their hospitalization benefits have kicked in. Our prior Advantage Plus plan had a limited amount of benefit periods to choose from. Used to have a 1, 3, 6, and 10. Now we've got many new base plan choices for your client to choose from. And simply all you're doing is taking their Medicare Advantage plan, looking to see how many days they have a copay for hospitalization stays, and then you match it up with the GTL Base Plan for the same amount of days. We also have lowered the premiums on Advantage Plus Elite about 14% compared to our old Advantage Plus product. Lower rates, always a good thing. Our Advantage Plus plan used to have a $20 application fee. That was a one-time $20 fee we would draft them for, separate of their first premium draft, and it was a one-time fee. With Advantage Plus Elite, there is no more a $20 application fee. So there's going to be one draft for their premium each month. We also made it easier for the clients to use their ER benefits. With Advantage Plus, if you went to the ER due to an injury and were treated and then admitted to the hospital, that's what was required to get your $150 emergency room benefit. With Advantage Plus Elite, it's easier than ever. Now, if you go to the ER or an urgent care facility due to an injury, you're getting your $150 ER benefit. There's no more requirement that you need to be admitted to the hospital after an ER stay. We made it easier for clients to get the plan. A lot of our competitors still have their first application saying, have you been in the hospital the last 12 months? Well, with Advantage Plus, we already had an Advantage, we had only a 6-month look back. But with Advantage Plus Elite, that's now been lowered even further to a 3-month look back for inpatient hospitalizations. So more of your clients will be able to get this valuable coverage. The skilled nursing facility rider, will tackle that coverage a little bit later, but just want to let you know we expanded the benefits on it. It's going to be a lot easier for you to match up the copay the client has for skilled nursing facilities with GTL coverage. And we did add a brand new rider, thanks to agents asking about it. It's an occupational therapy benefit rider, and we'll tell you about that in just a little bit, but a brand new rider on Advantage Plus Elite. If you have ever taken a look at the outpatient surgical rider before, that's a rider we've had since 2005, but I've always felt it's been pretty expensive. With Advantage Plus Elite, the rates have been lowered substantially, and now I actually think it's a really viable rider for your clients to have. All of our apps issue in seconds. Advantage Plus has really always been the go-to in the hospital indemnity market, but now it's Advantage Plus Elite, and you still have the best product out there with that great fast claim payment turnaround time. So here's where we're at with our state approvals. Currently, all the states in lime green or light green, if you will, already selling Advantage Plus Elite. We are still working with the Departments of Insurance for the states that are in dark green that still have Advantage Plus coverage available for sale. And in Florida, we have Indemnity Plus, which is the same coverage as available for Advantage Plus, but with an association wrapper around it. So here's the good things to know. When you sell this plan, your client can actually use it in all 50 states. They can even use it in the states that we do not issue the plan in, but once they have it, all 50 states, they can use it. And if they happen to move to a different state, or maybe they change their MA plan, doesn't matter. As long as they pay their GTL premium, they can continue to use the Advantage Plus or Advantage Plus Elite coverage. So here's something very cool that we're doing at GTL. It's something you generally don't hear a lot of carriers doing, but we really do value our policyholders, and we want to make sure that we're getting them the best benefits that we can. So here's what we've done. Whenever we get an approval for Advantage Plus Elite in a state, we then turn around and ask the state if we can extend our Advantage Plus Elite benefits to our existing Advantage Plus policyholders. So this way, you as the agent, you don't have to go out there and resell them an Advantage Plus Elite plan. They are going to get the Advantage Plus Elite base plan benefits, and those are as follows. Now their hospitalization benefits will kick in after 6 hours instead of 12. And when they go to the ER, they no longer need to be admitted in order to get that ER benefit. So think of it this way. What's going to happen is, so far we're batting 100%. All the states are saying, absolutely, go ahead and extend the Elite benefits to your policyholders that have Advantage Plus coverage. And so what we do is, once we get that approval from the state, we send them a letter directly from GTL saying, great news, your coverage has been improved. Now your hospitalization benefits kick in after 6 hours, and no more admittance required when you go to the ER due to an injury to get that 150 ER benefit. So I know we've got agents on the line with us today who've sold this plan. You don't have to worry about anything with your existing Advantage Plus policyholders. Sell your new clients Advantage Plus Elite, you're all set. So this is something I used to personally get about 10 emails a week saying that consumer video is really great. How do I get the link for it, Greg? And so we made it easy to get the new Advantage Plus Elite consumer video. We put the QR code for it right on the front of the Advantage Plus Elite client brochure. So it's always there for you to access, and even you could tell your clients to go ahead and put their phone into camera mode, point it at the QR code, and they can watch the quick video. If you want to be compliant with selling this product, I know you all do, here's the deal. If you're going to talk about Advantage Plus, Advantage Plus Elite during a Medicare appointment, well, you need to have the scope of appointment form initialed by the client next to the hospital indemnity products box, or on some scopes, I've seen a supplemental health products box. That one also will apply to hospital indemnity. Now, if you're circling back to your clients, totally different story. If you're just going to talk about GTL, you do not need a scope of appointment form taken care of. Setting up the plan's really easy. You look at their Medicare Advantage coverage. How many days do they have a copay when they have inpatient hospitalizations? Then all you do is you grab a GTL base plan or benefit period. We call them the same thing interchangeably here. You match it up. So if they're responsible for 5 days in the hospital with a copay on their MA plan, grab them a 5-day base plan from GTL. Now, they're not just getting 4, 5, 6, 10 days. These benefit periods restore an unlimited amount of times after 60 days of no hospital use. So this is your first little indicator as to how people have been able to get tens of thousands of dollars from GTL and claim benefits. They've had many hospitalizations over the years, and these benefit periods restore over and over again so they can continue to use this plan as they age and have hospitalizations. Second thing you do, you got their base plan picked out already. You look at that MA plan again. How much do they owe for every day they're in the hospital? Is it $250, $280, $320, whatever it is? Match it up with a GTL benefit. You can choose with Advantage Plus Elite as low as $100 per day, all the way up to $750 per day. And you can choose in $10 increments, so it's really easy for you to get their plan set up so they end up with zero net out-of-pocket costs for hospitalizations. With whichever plan you choose, you get 2 other components. The emergency room benefit. That's the one we talked about already. You go to the ER or urgent care facility due to an injury, you're going to get $150. We also have a mental health benefit, again, included with any base plan you choose. So if you're in the hospital due to a mental health condition, your benefit's going to be $175 per day for up to 7 days per calendar year. Now that would be paid instead of the hospitalization benefit we're talking about at the top of the screen. So if you're in the hospital due to a mental health condition, you're going to get that $175 per day. If you're in there for something else, sickness, illness, surgery, you're going to get that hospitalization benefit at the top of the screen. So the main thing to let the clients know, when you show them the video, they're going to say, all right, how does this thing work? It looks great. Just let them know, well, you need to be in the hospital a certain amount of time before it kicks in. If you were selling them a 1-day benefit period, which is really not sold in the senior market, it's sold in the underage market, that one you do have to be in the hospital for 24 hours. Again, not sold really to seniors. However, with the ones you will be talking to clients about, your 3-day benefit period all the way up to the 10-day, 15-day benefit period, those are the ones that we've been chatting about so far. They kick in after 6 hours of being in the hospital. And when they're in the hospital for 6 hours, they can use this for just about anything. Scheduled surgeries like hip replacement, heart surgery, cancer surgery, or some type of sudden illness like a heart attack or stroke. Rush to the hospital. They're there 6 hours or more, coverage is kicked in. How about a car accident? How about if I slipped and fell and broke my hip? Absolutely. In the hospital 6 or more hours, you're good to go. Observation coding, don't worry about that. As long as the client is in the hospital long enough for their base plan to kick in with Advantage Plus Elite, it's 6 hours. We don't care if they're coded to inpatient or observation. We're going to pay full benefits based upon their coverage with us, no questions asked. Here's how the base plans restore. A great way to see how clients can use this over and over again. Let's say we've got a client with a 6-day benefit period. They go into the hospital for 3 days. And then they come home. They're home for 60 days. They have not returned to the hospital. Everything's great. So when they wake up on that 61st morning, they have a brand new 6-day benefit period to work with for anything in the future. So you can see they didn't have to use up their entire 6 days of that benefit period. They used 1, 2, 3, whatever it is. After 60 days of not being in the hospital, they get a brand new one. Again, unlimited restoration of the base plan. Now, sometimes they'll go into the hospital for, let's say, 3 days. They come home, but before that automatic restoration happens, they need to go back in. Still not feeling good. Well, that's all right. They used 3 days of their 6-day benefit their first time in. They still have the other 3 to use. And then after they're out of the hospital for 60 days, you guessed it, they get a brand new benefit period. And again, whichever base plan you choose, this is how they restore an unlimited amount of times after 60 days of no use. This is a fun little screen for me to show you a couple things, and it's a great reminder for me to tell you this. GTL has no idea what Medicare Advantage plan you've signed your client up for. We have no idea what their copays are. So we pay all claim benefits based upon the coverage they have with GTL. So in some instances, like the one on the screen, your client will actually end up with more money in their pocket from GTL than they actually have a copay for. And that is totally fine with us. So here's a person, they've got a 5-day copay on their MA plan, but they had a 6-day hospital stay. Luckily, their agent signed them up for a 6-day benefit period. And so what are we going to pay them? Well, we're going to pay them for all 6 days, even though they only have a copays for 5 days. Also a great opportunity for me to tell you as a selling tip, you can sign your client up for more coverage from GTL than they have a Medicare Advantage copay for. A lot of agents do this because they know Medicare Advantage copays have been trending upward, and this way the clients have a little extra money in their pocket if they use the plan now, but in the future, they've got that extra GTL coverage down the road when needed if those Medicare Advantage copays keep going up. So here's some fun closers for you here. In most states, the product is available from ages 40 through 85. Once you have the plan, keep it the rest of your life as long as you want. As long as you pay your premiums, the coverage never goes away. It does not reduce. Some nice feature that GTL has, especially for your clients aging in with some health conditions, we have a guarantee issue range from 64.5 to 65.5 years of age. This is something we've always offered at GTL, and it's a great value to you and your clients, because if you have some clients who are already pretty unhealthy and would not be able to get the Advantage Plus plan by answering the medical questions, well, they can get a guarantee issue. Just make sure they get it when they're aging in, and it'll be an incredible benefit for them. Now, besides the fact that we've never increased rates, when your clients do purchase this plan, they should expect their rates to continue to be the same as they age. So this plan does not increase as they get older. The rates stay level. And we've never guaranteed that our rates will not be raised. However, we've got 17 going on 18 years of history of never touching the rates. And by now, you know, with our new plan, Advantage Plus Elite, what did we do? We actually lowered the rates. So great history here. Clients can definitely, consider purchasing this plan and really never ever see a rate increase. So I already mentioned that with Advantage Plus used to have a $20 application fee. That is no longer with Advantage Plus Elite. However, Advantage Plus Elite does now have a $20 policy fee. It's an annual fee, but the great news is it's included in the quote. So I'm showing you a sample quote here. If you ran this for your client, let's say Mrs. Smith, you'd say, Mrs. Smith, for the coverage that we've signed you up for here, your premium monthly will be $34.33. And you can see by the top arrow there that that policy fee of $1.68 a month is already included in that quote. The other thing that's nice is we are paying commission on the policy fee for year one. So no more will your clients have two separate drafts the first month. It's always one. But just want to point out the product does now have a policy fee, and it's included in the rate quote that you do. We like to pay the benefits directly to the clients. Here's a nice tip for you for getting referrals. Tell your clients to leave their Advantage Plus ID card at home. So go to the hospital, come home, have them complete the short claim form, send it to GTL. We will then send them the check directly. That's when you get those referrals. Like, wow, this thing really works. I had a hospital stay, turned in the claim form, got the check a couple weeks later. Wow, my friends need to know about this. Call up their agent, give them some referrals. So this is something you definitely have to talk to all of your prospects about. This product does have a 6-month pre-existing condition limitation, really easy to understand and explain. If you sold me this product today, used our e-app platform so it went into effect today, my pre-ex would be anything my doctor has been treating me for in the prior 6 months to me getting coverage, and also if he said, hey, Greg, you need to go schedule this surgery right away. Those are my pre-existing conditions. So my coverage went into effect today. I cannot use Advantage Plus Elite for any hospitalization claims in the first 6 months I have the product. So no pre-ex claims the first 6 months. After 6 months, I can use this for all of my pre-existing condition claims. Now, I mentioned right when we turned on to this slide that you need to talk to all your prospects about this, because even the guarantee issue folks have the 6-month pre-ex. So they can get the plan guarantee issue 64.5 to 65.5 years of age, but they do have the pre-ex. And believe me, that is not a deal breaker. Somebody that has COPD or insulin-dependent diabetes that gets this plan during the guarantee issue window, having them have to wait 6 months before they can start using this the rest of their lives, not a deal breaker. Now, the other nice thing about the plan is you do not have to wait 6 months to use it at all if it's not pre-ex. I could buy it today, unfortunately fall and break my hip tomorrow, and use it right away. You're going to be surprised as you sell this plan and hear from your clients how quickly they do use it. Heart attacks and strokes happen. Car accidents happen, slips and falls happen, appendixes rupture. We see claims for this all the time in month 1 that somebody has coverage, and this coverage is already waiting for them right after we issue it and they make their first payment. All right, so here's a couple tips as far as how some agents get the cross sale started. Picture yourself at the table with Mrs. Smith and you're going over her Medicare Advantage plan. Well, you're going to eventually get to a spot where you have to say to her, Mrs. Smith, with this Med Advantage plan, you'll be responsible for $250 per day each day you're in the hospital as an inpatient, days 1 through 6. Right there is where you can simply follow up with a sentence like this. Now, that's a copay that can certainly add up, and I really don't want you to have to worry about that. So after we get you set up with the Medicare Advantage coverage, I'll show you probably for about how $1 a day, you'll be able to lower those net out-of-pocket hospitalization costs to 0. Does that sound like a good idea, Mrs. Smith? Now, she's obviously going to say, yeah, I want to hear about that. Now, some agents may say something a little bit different, like, Mrs. Smith, my clients would like me to set up their health coverage so that they end up with 0 cost after a hospitalization stay. Would you like me to try and design a plan like that for you? Another great way to bring that up. Some agents will go through all of the Medicare Advantage copays, one by one, and then say, well, Mrs. Smith, let me give you a little situation and I have a quick question for you. If you had to, unfortunately, take an ambulance to the hospital, go into the ER, and then be in the hospital for a couple of days, that copay would add up to probably $1,000 or more with this Med Advantage plan. If that happened to you, unfortunately, would that be something that would put a big crimp in your budget or your savings? And if she says yes to that, well, you know where we're going, from here. Well, Mrs. Smith, I don't want you to have to worry about that. Once we get you set up with this plan that's going to work great for you, I'll show you for probably about $1 a day how we can eliminate that worry for you with a hospital indemnity plan. So a great way to go ahead and get the cross sale started. You're just letting the client know you have something that's great for them, and you'll tell them about it a little later. So the consumer cross-selling video works great. You could play it for the client when you come to that point in the presentation. Let me show it to you now.
So, you just enrolled for Medicare Advantage health coverage. Great choice. Did you know there is additional coverage you can add to protect you from the out-of-pocket medical expenses you are still responsible for? Help fill any gaps in coverage and strengthen your financial protection with a hospital confinement indemnity insurance policy from Guarantee Trust Life Insurance Company. Since 2005, GTL's industry-leading hospital indemnity insurance has been helping clients lower or completely eliminate their net out-of-pocket expenses stemming from Medicare Advantage copays and deductibles after a hospitalization event. Coverage is affordable and pays you directly based on your time in the hospital, regardless of any other healthcare coverage you have or where in the U.S. you receive care. Your potential out-of-pocket costs could be for a variety of services, including ambulance trips, outpatient therapy, critical accidents, and more. GTL's hospital indemnity insurance allows you to customize your coverage to help cover these and many others. Let's see a quick example on how it works. Meet Beth. She is 65 years old, and her Medicare Advantage coverage leaves her responsible for a daily hospitalization copay of $300 per day for her first 6 days in the hospital. Knowing she would be responsible for her high copay, her agent helped her customize and apply for a GTL Hospital Indemnity insurance policy. Beth's new policy provided a restorable 6-day benefit period of $300 per day for less than $25 per month. A few months later, Beth suffered an illness that kept her in the hospital for 6 days. Her GTL Hospital Indemnity insurance kicked in after the first 6 hours of her stay. Beth received $1,800 directly from GTL for her hospitalization, which she used to completely cover her Medicare Advantage copay. Instead of worrying about how to pay her high copay, Beth could focus on her recovery without a financial setback. You shouldn't have to worry about covering out-of-pocket medical expenses, so now is a great time to think about GTL's Hospital Indemnity Insurance.
There you go, a really successful video used on multiple different levels by agents. And to give you a little bit of an idea of what they do with that, let me get along to the next slide here. We've got an infographic too, so just to give you an idea here, some agents aren't playing the video. Some of them like to work through an infographic with the clients, and we do have a great one here. It's one page, and on the back side of it, there's also some information, but an area for you to also put your contact information. So you can prospect with this video and also use it during the appointment. A good point here is a real big reason for getting your closing ratio high is showing an example of how the product works. That's what the video just showed you, and also the infographic shows an example of how the product works for the client. When they see that, that's when they really understand the value of the coverage, want to know how much it costs them, and then they're good to go. You'll also want to keep in mind a couple ways to prospect with this plan. For example, not only could you use this video during an appointment, but you could send an email to your client with the link to the video in it. And you could just send them a nice email like, hey, Mrs. Smith, want to make sure your Medicare Advantage plan is working great for you, and that you got your policy and ID card, and also just want to reinforce that there are some copays that you'll have when you use that plan. But if you click the link, watch this short video, you'll see this plan will work really well with a hospital indemnity plan from GTL. And if you're interested, great news, I can sign you up over the phone in probably 10 minutes. So you can prospect with the video link. You can put the video link on your social media platform. You could put it on your website. Think about all these different ways that you can actually prospect with the consumer video or the infographic. Ambulance rider is an incredible rider to have on the coverage. It's really built for use, meaning if you take an ambulance to go to the hospital, well, you're getting your benefit. Doesn't matter if you're admitted or not, you're getting your benefit. Most people sign up for a $200 or $250 benefit, but your range here is $50 all the way up to $400. Also, if you need to take another ambulance, let's say you're in the hospital, it took an ambulance to get there, and then a day later you need to take another ambulance, maybe to another hospital or skilled nursing facility, something like that. Well, that's going to be another benefit, because with this rider, you can use it up to 4 times per year, up to 12 times over the life of the policy. It does also include air ambulance, so if you take an air ambulance, it's going to trigger a benefit. And the great news is it's really inexpensive. You're probably looking at $2.50 to $4 per month for this rider. Super inexpensive and used quite a bit. Now, here's an objection you may run into. Let's say you're in a county where your client does pay a premium for their MA plan, and now you're presenting, well, you have a premium of, let's say, $30 per month for your MA plan, and now I'd like you to also have a hospital indemnity plan for, say, $30, and you're like, whoa, wait a minute, I don't want to have 2 premiums. Why would I want to do that? Well, it's really simple to show them a quick example. Just say something like, well, if you took an ambulance to go to the hospital, that's $250 of a copay on your MA plan. 1 day in the hospital, $300 copay on your MA plan. Just that 1 day in the hospital, Mrs. Smith, you're going to be out of pocket $550. So with this hospital indemnity plan that I'm chatting with you about, if you had the plan, the first year you had it, if you're 65 years old, it would cost you only $320.55 for the year to have that plan. So even if you had the plan and then you went in the hospital via ambulance for 1 day, you're already ahead of the game. So your clients, when they see these type of examples, they realize how valuable this coverage is, how inexpensive it is, and then you could just reinforce a couple things. Hey, you know what? These plans you reinstate over and over and over again, so you can use this plan all through your life. And there's no limit to the amount of benefits you can get from GTL. Those base plans, they keep restoring over and over again. So really great coverage, inexpensive, makes a lot of sense. Here's just a quick little idea for you. This is a great plan for veterans to have. Even though when they go to the VA facility, they don't get a room charge, that doesn't matter to GTL. If they fill out the claim form, we will contact the VA facility. We will find out when they checked in, when they checked out, what they were there for, and then if it's a viable claim, we can pay them their claim benefits. So think about this coverage for your veterans out there. Another rider, critical accident. You know, when you get a little older, the bones get a little more brittle. We have a slip and fall, car accident, things tend to break. This one will give a lump sum payout based upon certain types of fractures, ligament tears, dislocations. You could choose a $5,000 or a $10,000 rider, and that's the most you would get. Total of $5,000, total of $10,000. Accidental death, you can see there's a benefit in there too. Very inexpensive. I have this coverage. I'm 57 years old. It's $1.63 or $1.68 for me a month. So a very inexpensive rider that can pay out big if the client has a slip and fall or a break or a car accident, something like that. The new outpatient therapy rider. So this one's really easy to talk to clients about and works really well. Lots of people getting, rotator cuff surgeries, needing some type of therapy after some type of surgery. That's what this rider's for. So basically, if you're getting, physical therapy, occupational therapy, or speech therapy, you can get up to $50 per day with this rider. And when you select the rider, when you apply for it, you can choose either 15 days per year or 30 days per year as the benefit amount. And it also comes with some chiropractic therapy, so you can get up to 5 days per year of chiropractor benefits at $50 per day. Nice new rider. Lump sum cancer rider, very comprehensive. If you're looking for a way to bring up cancer coverage, very simple. Mrs. Smith, what company is your cancer policy with? Great way to start the conversation. And with this rider, very comprehensive. Starts out with an invasive, life-threatening cancer benefit. So if you're diagnosed with stage 1, 2, 3, or 4 of an internal spreading cancer, you've got a big lump sum benefit coming to you, paid upon diagnosis. Also included cancer in situ. So that's pre-stage 1 cancer, 25% benefit there. Also included skin cancer, $500 benefit payable up to 3 times over the life of the policy for a basal cell or squamous cell skin cancer diagnosis. So why do I say this is built for use? Look what you've got with this rider. Skin cancer, pre-stage 1, and stage 1, 2, 3, and 4 internal invasive spreading cancers. Most agents sell a $10,000 rider. They do that because if a client's maximum out-of-pocket on their MA plan is $5,000 per year, let's say the client's diagnosed with cancer this year, they're going to start getting treatment. Treatment takes months. So they're going to hit their maximum out-of-pocket pretty quickly. But then if the calendar year turns and they're still getting treatment, they're going to have another one to pay. So $10,000 is the most popular rider amount choice. If you want the client to be able to get their lump sum cancer rider benefit paid to them more than once, you would want to add the recurrence benefit rider. Somebody gets it paid to them. Once they go through their treatment and they're diagnosed to be in remission, the clock starts and that rider rebuilds. So if the cancer comes back or a different type of covered cancer is diagnosed, they could get their payout based upon where they're at in the recurrence schedule. Really nice rider. Couple more to go here and we'll be all set. We've got the nursing facility rider. The only thing we changed with this with Advantage Plus Elite is now you can choose between $100 all the way up to $220 per day in $10 increments. So easier to match up their copay with the GTL benefits. 2 riders to choose from. Started at day 1, go through day 50, or started at day 21, go through day 100. Main thing to get this kicked in, you need to have at least 3 consecutive days in the hospital and then hit the skilled nursing facility within 30 days of that hospitalization stay. We're going to take any time we can to get them to that 3-day requirement. So ER time, observation time, everything we can add up to help get them to that 3-day requirement, we're going to do that. And the outpatient surgery rider, again, lowered the rate substantially. Now I believe it's a viable rider. Perfect things for this: cataract surgery, even a colonoscopy if they do remove some tissue during the procedure, that works. This rider is really for outpatient surgeries at outpatient surgical facilities. It's not for MRIs or X-rays. Advantage Plus underwriting, super simple. There's 5 questions. You answer them no, you get it. You answer any of the questions yes, you do not get it. Guarantee issue window, 64.5 to 65.5 years of age, and they have to answer 0 of the application questions. The lump sum cancer coverage, that coverage we just talked about, really comprehensive. Anytime you select the box for that, there will be 4 separate questions that come up. And the good news is with those questions, there's only a 5-year look back. So if you have a client who's maybe had cancer and have been in remission for 5+ years, you could probably get them this coverage. 6 months pre-ex we already tackled. Policy is contestable for the first 24 months. Some good news here: after the policy has been around for 24 months, we don't even need a claim form anymore to process their claims. Send us their hospital bill. We can take care of it. Most people pay monthly bank draft, but we can draft any mode, and you never are collecting any premium when they're setting up for bank draft. If they want a direct bill, we offer that quarterly, semi-annual, and annual. That's a little bit more difficult to get started. Need a paper application with the premium to get that process started. So hopefully most people are doing bank draft, and it's easy peasy. Okay, the first application question you will see is, in the last 3 months, have you been in the hospital as an inpatient? I have inpatient circled because it's only inpatient stays we're looking for. So if your client says, yeah, I was in the hospital a short time ago, just ask them, were you in the ER or was it inpatient? Even if it was coded to observation, that doesn't count. So they could have been in the hospital for 3 days under observation. That's still fine with us. So keep that in mind. So with Advantage Plus Elite, you've got a few great things here. Less questions than our competitors, easier to get than our competitors, lower rates than our competitors, cross-selling tools that they don't offer, more experience than any of them have, and more platforms to get it done, get that app done in a couple minutes. Let me show you a quick video on what the e-platform looks like. All right, so you can see it's very simple to complete this application in probably 3 to 5 minutes. That's generally the amount of time it takes agents to do it. Super, super simple. easy to go ahead and use. And again, if you tuned in just a little bit late, if you're using the GTL eApp platform, that's the one that you download onto your tablet or smartphone, your client will sign the device screen and there's no verification call. If you are using the PC platform, that is the one that does require the verification call. And as you saw in the video, the instructions come up on the screen, really simple. All right, so last slide we want to tackle today is how we process claims. This is where we stand out again from our competition. First thing good that we need to know is the claim form's really easy. It's got a nice little first page explaining what we need to the client. What do we need? We need their policy number, their name, contact info, when they went in the hospital, what it was for, sign the claim form. Very simple. Also, sign the HIPAA form. And last thing, send us the bill. Now, sometimes the client doesn't send us the correct bill or doesn't send us a bill at all. That's what we can use the HIPAA form for. Now we can reach out to the facility, get the information for them so we can process their claim. We don't want the client running around looking for stuff, and we don't want you as the agent running around looking for stuff. So that's the good thing about the claim form. It's short, it's simple, and if the client doesn't complete it exactly correctly, we can reach out to them directly or reach out to the facility to get the information that they didn't send us. What you can expect with the claims process here at GTL, it's going to be fast, fair, and we want to pay claims quickly. We have no desire to ever delay a payment or deny a claim. We always want to pay every penny of what we owe the client and as quickly as possible to keep that relationship great between them and us and you and them. Very important. If they ever have questions on their claim, we welcome them to call GTL because we can actually tell them more about their claim than we can tell you as their agent because of HIPAA regulations. So happy to have them call, happy to share with them where their claim's at. We don't get a lot of calls because they're usually processed so quickly, but if they ever want to call, we're happy. Wondering how long it takes us to process claims? We average an average of 8 business days. So very quick. And if we do ever need to order medical records, let's see, maybe we want to make sure that this claim is not a pre-existing condition that happened in the first couple months they had their policy. Well, we have a great system in place. We contact the doctor or facility every 3 days to remind them we need those medical records very quickly so we can process the claim quickly. So again, any questions about claims, you can always reach out to me or sales support, but your client can definitely call GTL and get the information they need. So I know with regard to getting contracted and maybe some initial questions that you may always want to contact Premier, but I want to give you some great numbers for GTL too. So contacting sales support, 800-323-6907. Also, you could text to chat sales support at 800-323-6907. Also, you could email them at agency@gtlic.com. My email address is on there for a very important reason. I never want you to hesitate to email me when you have a question, especially if it's after business hours, on the weekend, holidays, whatever it is. If you're at an appointment, have a question, email me, please, directly at gspo@gtlic.com, and always happy to help. So with that, John, we can see if we have any questions that I still need to tackle, but appreciate everybody tuning in, and especially for those who have already been submitting business. Thank you so much for it, and we'll continue to be here with the best plans for you and for your clients.
A couple of things, Greg, that popped up. John is asking, how does the client get the money from a hospital stay? Does GTL help in that process, or I think they're just wondering how the claims are paid out?
Sure. So if the client completes the GTL claim form and sends it to GTL, we send them the check directly, so they get it right in their hands. If they happen to take their ID card to the hospital, their GTL ID card, and they give it to the person in admissions, when they're signing their admission forms, they're actually assigning their GTL benefits to the hospital. And legally, we have to pay all claim benefits to the hospital. So if it turns out that there is a situation where the person has more money coming from GTL than they have a copay, well, then they can just reach out to the hospital to get that balance. But GTL is not able to, let's say, because we don't know what their actual copays are, we have no idea what we would do with that check to split it, but then legally we have to send everything to the hospital to begin with. So that's why I mentioned earlier, the best way to get referrals and the best way for clients to see how great this plan works, have them keep their ID card from GTL at home. They fill out the claim form, then they get the check directly made out to their name from GTL.
Thank you, sir. Patrick is reminding us that different MA plans offer different ways of collecting or charging hospital co-payments. I think that in this case, the answer for you and for this one, Greg, is regardless of how the MA plan handles some of the billing, as long as you're fulfilling the requirements of the GTL plan, those folks are going to get paid anyway. A last question is payment for the premiums. Does GTL accept debit cards?
So basically, we have it could be a checking or savings account, and we can draft that. That would be the two options there.
Okie dokie. There we go.
And that was a great question before that too, and I should just throw in there, because this comes up now given COVID. I know there's some MA plans out there that if you're in the hospital due to COVID, they're not going to charge you, a copay, but that doesn't matter to GTL. Again, even if they don't get that copay, we're still going to pay them their claim benefits. So, keep that in mind.
That's the it pays regardless of other coverage statement, I think, right? So awesome.
Sure.
I'm gonna pull back control for just a second and finish you up with a few really quick slides. Folks, why you would want to offer the GTL program is pretty apparent in my mind. Mindset here is, why do you want to do it with us here at Premier Marketing? Well, we offer some additional services for you as part of our relationship. And one of those is the ability to create an agent profile insurance bay that helps you store your information about your agency and your licensing, and a number of questions are asked there within that would enable you to contract with carriers electronically as well. We always look to use the quickest way of getting you contracted. We want to make it simple as well. We do offer discounted errors and admissions coverage for qualified agents. What makes you a qualified agent? You got to contract with us. But this is a program you own, so it's not adding you to a blanket E&O policy for just one company. This fulfills the requirement that you have with every insurance company asking for this sort of coverage, and does so in a manner that you control. So a great way of making certain that you're covered regardless of the insurance program you're contracting with, and regardless of who you're contracting through, because it's not just limited to Premier Marketing offerings. We do also offer discounted continuing education credits to keep your license in play through our association with WebCE, and you have an opportunity to purchase modified guarantee issued disability income insurance for yourself and earn a commission through this program as well. Much as what today's presentation is being recorded and will be available on our website and on our YouTube channel, you'll find that past presentations are there as well. So you have a library of material to reference, and you can access that 24/7. One of the things that's really important that ties in today's topic as well is the fact that our agents have free access to Medicare Center. It's a program that gives you access to 3 different quoting engines through a single login. It has the different opportunity for you to send out that scope of appointment that Greg referenced earlier, and store it for that 10-year period that's mandated by law for this. But it's a great way for you then to make certain that your requirements are being taken care of. It's stored properly, but it also kind of prefaces a conversation about multiple topics by following those requirements. You got a CRM in there. You got different resources that can be really helpful as well, and it's available to our contracted agents without cost. And it includes a neat little function that kind of piggybacks on what Greg said before, where you can select through the CSG component the coverages that the person has in play now with Medicare Advantage, or those proposed coverages, and then an opportunity to use the system to fill the gap on those hospital indemnity charges covered by the program we discussed today. Very helpful in that regard. Neat way of doing some things really professionally and storing the information in the fashion you need. Many of the programs we work with, many of the carriers will offer incentives periodically, and we want to make certain that you know exactly where those are and how much it is worth to you, because they not only qualifies you for additional dollars or different things, it also helps you qualify for carrier trips and premier incentive programs. So you've got a space on our website, a page on our website that lays all that information together there for you. We have different ways of getting you in front of people. Nice program here to cold call for folks that are under 65. The marketing requirements for a hospital indemnity program, like dental programs or critical illness plans, it's different because outbound calls are prohibited for the Medicare Advantage and PDP programs, not for this. And it's a great topic to speak to with the public through those centers of influence. So on your scope of appointment, your work retail programs, great way to add on additional discussion time and mind for interest. It's also a great topic to use in presenting to faith-based organizations, marketing through that community, and dealing with some of the folks that are paying for these or providing the care that's paid for by these claims, and that's the providers. There are additional lead programs as well that include a mail co-op based on production. You can qualify for 2 different programs, one for the health portion, and then another if you're offering final expense. We do it through vetted vendors to make certain that the letters that are going out are compliant, don't get you in hot water. And each of these companies have really solid CRMs for you to do to address the response to your campaign. We also offer the sale of mail responses that have never been touched. Fresh, the cost will vary from time to time, market to market, but it's a great way to fill in your schedule or augment some things quickly. You do direct mail, it's about 3 weeks before you get a response, all told. This you can purchase and get that same day. We also offer Facebook lead programs for final expense and Medicare supplement plans, a great T65 locator for our agents. You download this package on your smartphone. It'll tell you in a particular area who's turning 65. A great way, because you can still door knock from MedSup. We have a really helpful referral recording for you that engages not just the people that you're speaking to and selling now or missing a sale on possibly, but a great way to engage your current book of business for additional leads as well. We say and do all this, ran a little long today, I'm sorry, because I think I should have had that 4th cup of coffee, but this is an opportunity for us to ask for your business, much as what you ask for business from the people that make your agencies successful. We want to have that sort of relationship with you and make GTL part of your personal marketing plan, because you can do things quickly, not affected by those enrollment periods, paid timely, and performs the way it's supposed to. So this is something we think is a strong component of any marketing program for agents that work in our demographic. So all that said and done, watch for the follow-up that will come out. You can reach us at 1-800-365-8208 if you're working with a marketer now. They'll help you with the GTL programs. If you're new to us, we'll set you up with a subject matter expert that can help you as well. And we want to make certain that we also thank you for the time you spent with us today, the relationship we've had in the past, if we have, relationships moving forward. All that said and done, I'm going to check one more time for questions. And a question did pop up. Greg, I hope you're still on the line with us today, that speaks to does the mental health rider have a pre-existing condition requirement?
Yeah, great question. Yes, so the whichever base plan you choose, again, it comes with the hospitalization coverage, ER benefit, and the mental health the mental health benefit too. Yeah, so the 6-month PreEx does apply to everybody. And with regard to the questions on the application, just read the questions exactly as they're written, and you can answer them, black and white, just like they're written. And also if you have any questions on, I'm not sure on this, question for my client, you can always call GTL. We'll have you on the phone with an underwriter in 15 seconds, and they'll be able to help you out. But I don't think there's a mental illness question on the application per se, but there is some questions that do have some questions for specific health conditions. But just take a peek at the application questions, and you'll be able to know right away whether the client will get the coverage.
Awesome. Thank you, Greg. One last question asked about commissions. I'll field this, and that's basically detailed in the contract information that you're going to receive. It can vary according to levels. If you are an agency or you're looking to recruit, some of the other factors that come into play. But one of the reasons we really like working with GTL is they pay a fair commission, but they do so consistently and in a timely fashion. You don't wait on things here, and we want to make certain that you're compensated for your efforts as quickly and as fairly as possible too. So all that said and done, I want to thank you for coming on the line with us today. Greg, thank you very much for our discussion and presentation today. We do have these materials available in additional languages in many circumstances. Some of the carriers are really good at doing that. That's a question that just popped up. I want to thank you for coming on the line. Until we're able to chat again, we wish you good selling. Thanks so very much, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Greg.